Wilder is a former special assistant to U.S. President George W. Bush. He's also the managing director of the Initiative for U.S. China Dialogue on Global Issues at Georgetown University. I asked him where relations stand now between the United States and the DPRK.
What you're looking at is a 70-year history of mistrust. And we thought we were making progress on that, but obviously we've hit a bump in the road. I don't think the talks are off forever. I think actually they could come back quite quickly, because one of the things we know about President Trump is he can turn on a dime. He turned on a dime today, but he could turn on a dime tomorrow in the other direction. So I think we need to remain open to the idea. And certainly I'm heartened by the fact that the North Koreans did not come out blasting this morning after President Trump's letter. I think that's a good sign. I think the Chinese could play a big role now.
Well, they're almost coming off as the good cops in this, aren't they, in a sense? I mean, the demolition of this site and then saying all the right things this morning.
Exactly. And I think that one of the problems we have is that John Bolton and then Vice President Pence said some things that really made it sound as if the United States was coming in with an incredibly hard position. I don't think that hard position is the way you negotiate with anybody, and particularly with the North Koreans. I think Pompeo understands that, and I think these negotiations need to be in the hands of Pompeo and in the hands of people who understand that you've got to make concessions to get concessions.
But it also gets to the point of message discipline, which we don't see a lot of in the Trump White House. I mean, you get one message from one group and another message from others. This is a real problem, isn't it?
I think it is. You talked about the special negotiator that the State Department had. I think that Pompeo needs to designate somebody. That person needs to be empowered, and that's the way to move forward. We don't need a lot of different voices out there talking about this issue, because we see what that can cause. It can cause confusion, it can cause mistrust, it can cause misunderstanding.
And you've used the word mistrust a couple of times, so let's talk about trust, because one thing you see in the United States is the trust with its allies and vice versa. How does this action impact that? Because this could really drive a wedge between the U.S. and the ROK, because Moon Jae-in was all in, wasn't consulted before Trump took this action.
Yeah, I think that the South Koreans are in shock today. After all, Moon just was in Washington. South Koreans felt that they had gotten the president to a point where they even said that they felt it was 99.9% sure that the summit would come off. So I think for the South Koreans, this is a body blow. It's not how I did diplomacy when I was in the White House. We were always careful to consult with our allies, to let our allies know before we took a step like this. I think it's part of that learning curve that Trump is still on, I'm afraid.